So for those who don't know, the next chapter in the Hilda story, the animated version of the Hilda story, just dropped recently on Netflix, that being Hilda and the Mountain King, the Hilda movie. And man, was it good. Like, I've talked about this show a couple times at this point. You guys know that it makes me feel like weirdly nostalgic. It's just like a wholesome, fun, good time. And a super well-realized world that just happens to include a lot of supernatural elements from various old folk stories and stuff. Hilda herself, while she can be a little bit annoying sometimes, is a really endearing, realistic child character who gets up to some really fantastic adventures. Not only that, but in the world of Hilda, the average person in the city of Trollberg, where Hilda lives at this point, tends to be either really indifferent towards or like actively bigoted towards the supernatural elements, especially trolls. Especially the trolls themselves. So there's like good room for like allegory about like racism and acceptance and stuff. Like, it has so much potential as a world. And while I will preface this review by saying that I do kind of miss the really, really early episodes where they were more episodic one-off adventures, where we would deal with a new supernatural thing each time, and the fun of it came more from just experiencing this world with Hilda and her friends, right? From like the slice of life elements more than anything else. And so the later stuff, where we got a little bit of that in the second season, right? But like, the episodes tend to be about things. And there is more continuity connecting the episodes, making them even more about things, right? And then this movie was about things, right? And that's all good. Don't get me wrong. The things that this movie was about were pretty freaking great. And there was lore stuff in there. There was world building and a little bit of slice of lifey stuff here and there too. But I do kind of miss that early formula. And yet this was still a fantastic movie. And only could have grown out of this world. Like, you could tell basically the same allegory in other stories. But this show handles its relations between creatures and people so just impeccably. I don't know of any other ongoing property, especially one for kids, that could have told a story like this one as well as this one did. Hilda and the Mountain King picks up immediately where the end of the previous season left off. Hilda has been swapped with the child of the troll character who befriended her and her mom last season. Though not just in position, in like form as well. Hilda is a troll now, and the former troll daughter, I cannot remember her name, and I apologize for that, because she was very cute, is a human now, and not exactly living Hilda's life. It's not like they swapped identities or anything. People still recognize them as them, but like they find her in Hilda's room, right? So the intention seems to be that she would be taken in by Hilda's mother as part of Hilda's former family, and then vice versa. And probably the coolest thing to come from this transposition is that one of the coolest ongoing story elements of the Hilda show so far has been the characters trying to come to some understanding, find some way to understand the trolls, the ones who care about not just, hurting or killing the trolls anyway, right? The good guys. But now this transposition, turning Hilda into a troll, and Hilda being, like, maturity-wise older than her former troll counterpart, because the little baby troll doesn't really seem to understand English much, is what I'm getting at. Hilda now understands what the trolls say, which is super duper cool, right? Because while it does at first kind of seem like they're doing the whole these two peoples learn to understand each other thing, but on easy mode, really this is payoff from Hilda being open to getting to know trolls in the first place. Because we find out the motivation for doing this from her new troll mother, and there's nothing really sinister about it. Like, she shouldn't have done this. I was thinking it was going to be something like, oh, she actively wanted them to learn to understand each other better. But it's more selfish than that. But at the same time, there's nothing malicious to it. She recognizes that things are becoming more dangerous on the troll side of the wall, with more and more aggressive trolls showing up, and the humans being more and more aware of and wary of the trolls and taking stronger and stronger action against them. So she wanted her daughter to be safe inside the walls as a human. And her thinking regarding this was helped along by the fact that the trolls do stay in the area because they feel called to Trollberg. Something about it draws them towards it. So it's not like her daughter never wanted to go inside the city anyway. And on the flip side, she sees how free Hilda likes to be, and thought that Hilda would enjoy the life of a troll more than the life of a human. She really was hoping that she was doing what was best for both of these kids by making this exchange using troll magic to essentially do the changeling thing to them. Where, not a fairy in this case, but like a fairy child is put into the place of a human child, but with a troll instead. And because it's troll magic, and humans don't really understand troll magic very well, there's not really anything they can do about this. Even once the other characters involved in the story come to realize what's happened and understand it more, there's not really anything they can do about it. Even the witch characters can't really do anything about this. Like there's got to be a way to break the spell. We know that. And I imagine, I don't think they ever outright confirm it, but they imply pretty heavily that Troll Mom could also just do it again and therefore undo it. But, Hilda's stuck this way until she can figure out a way to return to her old life, and she wants to do that. But, me personally, and I don't think this is the best thing about the movie, from any sort of objective angle, but for me personally, the thing I liked the most about it was the kind of nuanced approach they took with this. Hilda definitely wants to go home. She definitely wants to return to her life. She definitely thinks that Troll Mom's own daughter should be living with her and not Hilda. But the movie does take the time to show us that Hilda is interested in how trolls live. She does take the time to learn about it. She's interested in how they go about their daily lives, and she does give some of the day-to-day troll life stuff a try, once she calms down a bit, obviously, because, she freaks out at first, rightfully so. And she does enjoy the freedom that being a troll affords to her, because not only is she severed from all of her human responsibilities, but she's able to just run around out in the fields all day. Fields that would normally be, especially at night, dangerous because of the trolls, but dangerous in general because, it's out on the other side of the wall. There's not going to be adults around keeping an eye on you and making sure you're safe. Something could happen. But with her troll body, she's not only more durable, but she's stronger, and she can jump higher, and she can climb more, and she doesn't get tired as fast, and she can experience all these things so much more fully than she could before. And this scene in particular, there was just so much joy in it. I liked it a lot, and there's another scene very similar to it at the end of the movie that I will touch on that felt exactly the same way, them effectively doing the same scene twice, but just placing one of them in a more triumphant context than the other one didn't diminish how just joyful that scene was at all. So even this movie that is very clearly about this specific narrative thing that's happening does have some of that adventurous, joyous aspect to it that I do like about the show overall. But of course, this movie does have a plot, so we might as well touch on what that plot is. It's not just about Hilda getting home or her mom getting her home or anything. Those are aspects of it, but they really take a back seat. Hilda's mom Like, she compromises her morals a bit in an attempt to try to get Hilda back from the trolls. She teams up with that jerk from the town watch. I cannot remember his name either, but that's intentional, because I don't like him. At one point, to try to help him get into the troll civilization under the mountain, because she's hoping that he can help her get Hilda back. But that's a thing that she would never do if she weren't desperate. If she weren't put into a situation where she was desperate. Because throughout the entire movie we can see she is sympathetic towards the trolls and does want to treat them with respect and just coexist. Even as the watch guys are developing technologies, they can just straight up kill trolls. Just like straight up, like they've got this Jeep thing that can just one-shot them with like artificial sunlight. Even really enormous ones. Even as all this is going on, Hilda and Hilda's mom and Hilda's friends, and even some other people from around town, it seems, just want to coexist with the trolls and don't like the kind of nasty propaganda that's being spread out around about them, which is very, very cool. I like that it wasn't just our heroes who had that attitude, but they actually took the time to show us that there are other people in town who feel the same way. So that is the thing. I'm not going to talk about it much in this review, but that is a thing. It just mostly ends up padding out the episode and serving to give us a couple of scenes of like emotional pathos, right? Which are good, don't get me wrong. But the main plot of the movie is that Hilda, despite the fact that she does enjoy being a troll, wants to get back to her mom, and so she's looking for a way to undo what's been done to her. And so in the process of this, as she's adventuring around, she does stumble into a cave where she finds an extremely large troll. And the cave itself, the opening to the cave, is blocked off by a bunch of suspended bells. Really large, powerful ones that even a troll that large wouldn't be able to just push past. And we're reminded of that as the movie starts. Like, not literally as it starts, but relatively early in the movie, when we actually see Hilda, as a troll, react to bells and how much they hurt the trolls who hear them. So not only are we reminded of that, like on an intellectual level, but we see the physiological effect that it has on trolls. So it's really easy to understand immediately just from seeing what the cave looks like, from what the cave entrance looks like, why this guy would be trapped here. And I gotta say, one of the weaknesses of the movie, one of the very few weaknesses, is that there's two major twists. And both of them, I think, are extremely easy to predict. Like, first of all, the movie is called The Mountain King, and even though the figure that seems to be standing in the shadows opposite Hilda on the poster for the movie doesn't look like this guy, it's pretty obvious this guy's the Mountain King. Even before we hear a story from Troll Mom about the Mountain King who tried to unite the trolls and lead them against Trollberg, only for other trolls to stand up to them and defeat them, it's pretty obvious just from knowing the title of the movie that this important, very large troll who claims that he can help Hilda fix things, that's his role in the story. He gets her to do a bunch of stuff for him in exchange for supposedly returning her to her life. It's clear that he's going to turn out to be the Mountain King. But that's not the only story that we hear from Troll Mom in this movie. We also hear a story about the Troll Mother, about how trolls used to all come from a giant, powerful troll mother, that trolls get their kids just from kind of finding them now, but they used to kind of just be assigned to them by this troll mother, into little family groups by this troll mother. But nobody knows where she is anymore, and they kind of think she's dead. And between that and hearing about the weird calling that all the trolls hear coming from Trollberg, it's really easy to put two and two together and figure out that the troll mother is beneath Trollberg. And so when it becomes clear that the Mountain King is trying to use Hilda to facilitate his escape, that he's been imprisoned there because he was trying to kill all humans, but that he's trying to use Hilda to facilitate his escape, and that he intends to martyr himself, it becomes very clear that his intention is to try to wake the troll mother, because he thinks that's the only surefire way to destroy the human settlement here, is to get her to stir enough that she just shatters the whole frickin' thing. But through the understanding that Hilda has been able to gain, facilitated by the fact that she's been turned into a troll, and with the help of her friends, too, a bit, also, she's able to work out what happened. That the troll mother intentionally remained asleep beneath Trollberg as it was growing up, because she didn't want to harm the humans who had settled there without knowing that she was sleeping beneath the earth. That she's a good enough person to do that. And because she's like this eternal thing, she doesn't really mind, right? And the way the movie ends, it's implied that these two civilizations are going to come to more and more of an understanding as time goes by. So I imagine eventually if they can get her out, they will, right? But as of right now, she's content to stay there. So even once the Mountain King does end up martyring himself, and she does start to stir, she doesn't really want to hurt anybody. So they're able to coax her into not doing that, not stirring further. And in doing so, they even manage to redeem the jerkish town watch guy, which I wasn't super thrilled about, but, you know, I like a good redemption arc. He didn't really get an arc. It was just kind of a Deus Ex Machina. Like, there's this MacGuffin item in the movie that's actually cool in the context of the movie that does affect him and facilitates that, but I'm not really sure I buy that he had the context to even understand what was happening with that, so I don't know. It's fine, though, really. Just a little quick. And realizing that their great troll mother figure doesn't want them to fight the humans or each other, really, the trolls all kind of settle down and they stop coming to conflict with each other. And in the end, even though there's still prejudice towards the trolls, an agreement is made where trolls will be allowed into the city annually to kind of make a pilgrimage to the center of town so that they can feel that connection with the troll mother, at least more so than before. And they're gonna, I would imagine, do away with the technology that can one-shot even giant trolls, and hopefully the town bells that can kill them. Like, it's kind of implied that that's not going to be an immediate thing, but I imagine they'll get there, right? And what's great about it, oh, and Hilda ends up, she goes back to her original life. Just, you know. It ended up being such an afterthought in terms of the climax of this that I almost didn't mention it, and that's not a bad thing. I want to be clear, that's not a bad thing. At this point in the movie, the plot had progressed to the point that that should have been an afterthought, because the characters themselves weren't worried about that anymore at this point. For the time being, they were trying to stop this big conflict from happening. But anyway, in the end, nothing is just magically fixed. Things just aren't magically perfect or all better. And there are still plenty of people who feel bigoted, for lack of a better term, towards the trolls. But in the spirit of this show's fantastic world building, even though not everything is fixed, we get just enough information about how things are progressing that you can imagine how they will end up down the line in the future of this world. And it made me feel super good. It made me feel so much better than I would have felt if things just had all magically been perfect between these two groups, because that would have felt unrealistic. This feels realistic and satisfying. And now, and this is important too, this might be the coolest, like, magic-y tidbit rather, in the whole thing. Hilda can still understand the trolls even after she turns back into a human, which is very cool. And maybe, like, this is a thing that they should do specifically to allow these two groups to talk to each other. Like, maybe they should use this spell to do that. I don't know, just a thought. Like, with people's permission, obviously. But, because of this greater understanding that she's facilitated with them, now she has kind of this extended troll family, too. And she's able to get away from the city sometimes and go run around like she did as a troll. And experience some of that freedom as a human, too. It's very good. very good movie. Again, though, it was a movie. It's not like this was a really compressed down season of the show. This is a movie with a clear beginning, middle, and end, and a plot that it sticks to throughout the whole thing. So if you like the more episodic Hilda stuff, don't go into this expecting it to just be that. But it pays off the stuff with the trolls so super well, because the show's been building up to this for so friggin' long at this point. And that made it super satisfying to watch. On top of just all of the general super satisfying Hilda-ness of the story. I don't know if we're getting any more of the Hilda show at this point going forward. I certainly hope we do, but I don't know if we are yet. If we are, though, considering that this movie is definitely in continuity with the show, I'm really looking forward to seeing what's different going forward. And I might need to actually, like, read the source material. So I understand there's some pretty stark differences here and there. I just want to know more about this world at this point. I've always been intrigued by it, but I'm just super intrigued by it again. My intrigue has been renewed by watching this film. And look at that. I didn't think I'd have very much to say about this one, frankly. I've got my notes here, but like I've gone so off script in terms of my notes at this point. I've got like, I was expecting this video to be like 10 minutes long, but I've got like 30 minutes worth of recorded material here. It's very exciting. Just means it's going to take me a little longer to get it out than I wanted to, but that's, you know, that's fine. You guys don't care about that. As per usual, guys, what do you think of Hilda and the Mountain King if you have seen it? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, you might as well like the video, share it with anyone else who you think would enjoy my content, subscribe if you haven't. You can also check out links to my various social medias, as well as the many ways you can help out the channel. Those will be in the video description, but either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.